Has anybody checked the weather? What do you guys think? I'm like, please don't change. It actually looks really good. So, yes. Yes.
talk
We
about
don't
the
talk
weather.
about it. We don't talk about anything. So, we're excited about that. So I just wanted to talk about how to pack. I actually have already started packing for the race for me because I have a bag. This is not the bag I use per se that I brought, but I definitely have a dedicated bag to racing. And I like to bring everything just in case. We're hoping it has wonderful weather, but I'm kind of indecisive when it comes to racing, and I like to have anything. So if I change my mind, oh, it's kind of windy, I think I am going to use my gloves, that kind of thing. At this point, I think it's tank top and shorts weather. It would be a little cold at the beginning, but by the end, you're perfect. So I think that's what I'll probably go with. It's probably a visor weather. Chilly at the beginning, but fun. So I always have a full hat, and I also have a visor, always. I usually bring arm warmer, so I always usually race in my tank regardless, and so if I need a little bit more warm, I'll use arm warmers. I usually have stretch gloves, and that's what I always have in there. Hope you guys are like, either write this down or go find a list. There's some free lists, made lists before. Always bring your shoes. I know this might be an obvious one. I usually wear my shoes to the race, or wear slip-ons like this, and then put your shoes. Put them in your bag. And I always have an extra pair of shoes in my car, just in case. I always have several pair. I have a road pair, and then I have a trail pair. So if my car ever breaks down, I know I can run 26 miles to somewhere I need to go. But I have to have my shoes and a pair of socks, guys. So I always have that in my car. Believe it or not, I have seen people that get to the start, they're in these kind of, and they're like, and they don't even have their shoes in their car. So when you get home tonight, put in even an old pair of trainers is better than
Maybe
nothing.
not for this.
Or just pair yours. Hopefully you have more than one shoe, one pair of running shoes that you're trading out here and there. I highly encourage you to do that because that's the one thing you should not forget is your shoes. I mean, and I wouldn't say, I don't know, it could be kind of peachy if you run without your shorts, but those are important too. But I'm just saying. So whatever shoes you're running in, and make sure they match. But other things that I bring to the race. So before the race, and everybody has their opinion, I like to kind of show you. You'll get a bag similar to this that you will, if you never, how many of you never raced before? Okay, very good. So Expo, Friday, up by Weaver. It's up by the ice.
The ice center.
Yes. So you want to go up there, and it's 10 to 7 Friday. Come see my booth. Hi, say hi. And if you have any last minute questions, you can come say hi, and I'm happy to help you. I want you to feel comfortable when you're doing it. So definitely go to the expo. You're going to get your packet, and it's usually going to be in the bag. And the bag is the thing that you want to use for race one. There'll be a bag drop area, and that's at the, I take my layers off at the last minute. I am cold at the beginning, always, and I usually am in my shorts. So you've seen that before, and it's like seems cold for you all, but when you're running, it's not, right? Some people were taking off layers on those other races that I was in, and I was in my shorts and I was comfortable. So I suggest that. I always like to put my name on it, just in case it's lost or it gets disconnected. I always like to tie it really well to in a knot because I don't want that thing coming open because you toss it. You toss it in the truck or whatever.
Can I make a comment?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
While we're on that subject.
Yes.
So anything that you take off that is not in that drum bag and that doesn't go on the back of that truck. So if you decide you want to wear a light jacket and keep going and you throw that on the side of the road, or you leave that at a water station, that's getting donated at the end of the day. Period.
It's not
So if
something
it's
to
not
have.
in the bag in the back of the truck, you are donating it willingly. You're not getting it back. Period.
Question about that
Yeah.
very thing, because I like to get a throwaway jacket, but is that bothersome?
No.
If you do that?
Actually, we do have some places that do take our donations, and they go to needy people that don't have coats, and a lot of people come in a blanket, which is awesome, because those blankets go to the homeless shelter. So if you are gonna bring some that you're gonna throw away, bring a blanket or go to the DI and buy some cheap clothes and then throw those, but they do get recirculated back into the community. for our needy people. But if it's not in the drop bag in the back of the truck, it's not yours anymore, period.
And if you are gonna layer and throw things like that, try to find where other people have thrown, or wait till the first aid station. I think that's the best place to drop it if you need to. And I wouldn't suggest trying to shed your bottom layer. It's usually the top layer, it's a lot easier to get rid of. You don't have to sit down and try to take pamphlet. So that's something to think about, unless you've got the, you've got your, whatever, basketball shorts, they're like, ooh, it'll show at the first aid station for you. Anyway, so you'll get a bag similar to this. I always put my name on it, and then, yeah, I do usually have layers, and I was gonna talk about that. A lot of people will get like, I will not throw these because these are Ogden American. I'm not wearing these ones. And I don't usually toss anything, so, unless it's my packages for my gel or whatever. But you do want a layer on. I see, you don't have to freeze at the start line. Really wait till the last minute to put your drop bag in. And those Mylar, you can get those Mylar lines, always save them when they give them to you after races, because you can use them at the beginning of another race and just toss it. And that's a really good thing too. There's trash can, that's easy. You don't have to shed anything later. I usually always have, so this is easy to pull off over shoes. I actually have another pair that they zip on the bottom, so I don't have to take my shoes off. Cause sometimes it's like, oh, it's time, and you have to get them off quicker than you think. Cause I do usually wait until the last minute. I usually bring a lightweight hoodie type like this as well with a drawstring so I can hide myself so no one knows who I am. Just kidding. I don't know, it gives you protection. It's like sunglasses and people can't see you. You really can't. No, actually sometimes when it gets windy, I just think the hood maintains my temperature better. You lose a lot of heat out of your feet and your head. So if you can maintain that, then I think that's a good thing. One thing I will say in these bags, it's up to you. I have done this for half Ironman before, is to put my phone in this and then I can get it. Most of the time I park close to where I can get it, but if you're gonna throw electronics in here, there's a chance you don't have a really good case. I always get the major anti-shock, cause I'm rough on my stuff. So then I don't suggest necessarily putting electronics in your bag. A lot of people actually run with their phones nowadays and take pictures along the way, whatever. If you can, great. So what do I wear for the race? I thought I would show you. You can say hi. You're all happy in the race. So this is what I usually wear. So I will wear something more like this. You've seen it before. That's it. That's what I wear. I brought this sleeve. But you haven't decided. I do suggest that you run in your outfit the week. Like next week, actually run in it and go, does it feel comfortable? Does it fit me the same as the last time I wore it? Because that does change. Yes. And then I wear compression socks, and then I have a full hat where I have a visor. And then I just feel better when I lay it all out. You've done the flat runner before. Lay it all out. You have it all in one place. Other things I use, these are these fancy little pins now. I have these little, instead of using your these pins. I think you guys have these, don't you guys have them, the little bib ones? Yeah, both have these. So they just, they're in the back and they just clip on. They're like buttons. So they don't ruin your clothes. So I suggest, I like these. Just kind of a little, extra tidbit. Other things, try it before, make sure it feels comfortable, and you know where to put it, whatever. Then I have one I start with Mother's there, or wherever you guys kind of put it for yourself. I'm like, no filter. They're like, oh, I hope you guys don't fire me, no filter. Anyway, whatever, hey, I like this flavor, I know this product works for me. I think, remember my tips before, I don't know if you guys have all went to all of my clinics, but one of the tips that I suggested is taking your gel with you. I always cut the edges off so it's really not gonna cause them. So at least I won't start with any chafing, cut these edges, make them real smooth. Then I can put them in my pocket. And then before I get to the first aid station or wherever I'm gonna take my gel, I actually take the gel before the aid station. Then I can take the liquid to get them down. And then I take one of these for the next time. Yeah, it's nice and warm. It goes down real easy. It's less viscous. Actually, it works great. So I suggest that because then at least you have one gel. So if you miss the other ones, you got one. Okay, so I highly suggest that. Then I got my little stretch club, all in my little bag. Another little bag that I have. Extra things I carry, like I said, were my arm warmers. Of course, I have all my layers in that bag. It's all packed. I have extra stuff as well in that. For anybody that might have forgot theirs, I usually carry extra. I always take this with me in the pocket. I always have my electrolytes, and you know I use those when I race. And then one thing you don't want to forget in a race is chafing stuff. I particularly like this that has a higher melting point, so it lasts a little bit longer, it stays on a little bit longer. Definitely, any of those chafing spots for you. And this is why I have you practice in your kit. You can feel where, okay, do my shoes feel good? You should have already, I reminded you last time, get good shoes. This is like last ditch effort today, getting your shoes. You need shoes, get them. Are there hot spots? Do these socks work? Are there any potential chafing spots with my kit or anything that I'm wearing? You know, and then, but I put this in there. It's in there, it's already in my packed bag, so I know, then I got my tattoos or whatever else you guys use, I've got that all in my bag. Then if I change my mind, decide, of course you gotta change your mind before you get on the bus. You don't wanna get on the bus and go, oh, you know, take whatever you need with you. Whatever you need would be this bag. So I might take, if I decide, hey, I'm gonna do a gel or something right before the race, or applesauce, whatever you decide you're doing, I'm gonna have that in this bag too. So this is what I'm taking. So your bib that you will pick up at the expo, will be your ticket to get on the bus. Does anybody know what time you need to get on the bus between? What times?
4:45 and 5:15.
4:45 and 5:15. Where? Different spots.
The east side.
So there's two different spots. It's on the same street, Washington. The race, where does the race finish? 25th and Grant. So one block east of that is Washington, so you can park near the finish. Go one block over. The buses are gonna be there to get on. If you're doing the full or the relay, you're going to be on the east side. If you're going to do the half or your other part of the relay, you're gonna be on the west side. Is that correct? I think that's correct. So, double check, put that, I'm pretty sure that's, okay. So, know which side, and make sure, and you can always check. I always like to do that. Even though the person in front of me, I'm gonna ask again. So I wanna make sure I'm on the right bus. Don't get on the wrong bus, that will mess you up. What is the start time? For the marathon? And relay, 7, great. What is the half marathon start time? 7. Okay, so now we know, you need to be on the buses. The canyon closes at 5:30, I believe, so you need to get on the buses on time. And give yourself plenty of time, because there are roads that are closed, and it's gonna take you a little time to actually find a spot. So yes, you're not gonna sleep in on that. If you get any sleep at all that night, you won't be sleeping, and I think it's much better. I'm kind of one of the people that would be like the first person on the bus, because I would rather be there too soon and wait at the start than go, oh my gosh, am I gonna make it to the bus? And I guess there are those moments for people, but just don't make it you. Just give yourself plenty of time.
Watching people miss the bus is tragic. It happens every year and it sucks, but we can't not let the bus go because you're running late, like, you know, so don't miss the bus, it sucks.
You put in all this time and effort to train. Yeah, don't miss the bus.
Brooke,
Nope.
hey Brooke, 12K also has a bus, right?
What was that?
12K also has a bus.
12K also has a bus, correct.
5K is on, one without.
Correct.
And the kids can send them on the bus if you need to. No, just kidding. So that is that. So question.
Yeah, if you live super close to the start line, do you have to take the bus? I live 2 blocks from the start
Oh,
line.
no,
Do
but
I
how are
have
you
to?
gonna get home after? You have a friend that will take you home?
I have people that
You can be dropped off.
You're just gonna run on back home?
You can have a park at the start line, but you can.
Yeah, that's her dynamic. I
Or you
think
can
that's
walk.
fine.
You
I
can do
think
that
what
too.
they're doing is preventing a bunch of people, a bunch of extra traffic up there at the start line. That's what they don't want, obviously. And the festivities are down where in finishes.
If you're the start line, they don't know how you got there, so.
Yeah. So, good question. Okay, any other questions before we move on? Okay, so you're gonna go to the expo, you're gonna get that bib, do not forget that bib, that's important for you to be able to get on the bus, you need that bib. Again, pack your bag, that goes in your bag with everything else. I usually, for all of my races, I know that I've shared this on my podcast, for all of my races, I have a Kong binder that I keep. Not a binder, it's usually if you get the plasticky folders, not very expensive, $1 or something, then I have everything in there. What's the race? Then I figure out my goals, what kind of splits I wanna do, if I've done the race before, all my race results from the previous years, but I've done this quite a few times, so then I can compare how slow I am now, just kidding. Okay, yeah, we've already talked about this, but no, it does help you get an idea. I like to actually look at my watch and see all the splits, and then you can see what miles have the downhill, uphill, and then you have a real good idea of what you're capable of. It really does help to look. They actually have the elevation profile, and yes, there is down, but there are some little spots where you're gonna go up, and you might not expect that if you haven't looked at that elevation profile. So I highly suggest looking at that. But I actually have my plan. I know what I'm gonna take when, and I have my range goal, and then I have a projected, I think I told you guys that. So if you guys have been to this before, I have an idea of what pace I should be doing, and then I put money in the bank if I'm a little faster, and then if I'm not, then I can lose that money in the bank. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, so you don't understand that, talk to me later. I talked about that at some of the other clinics. But I think that helps me stay on task. That's what's really important, staying on task, having good form, especially at the beginning, and then having a plan. A good race is a well-executed plan. I say that over and over, but if you don't have a plan at all, it's just free for all. You're doing whatever you see, and that usually doesn't always work out. So definitely have a plan. All right, so let's make sure we cover everything we're supposed to. How to pack for the race, what to wear, we talked about that. So the way I gauge what I'm wearing and why I decided what I'm wearing is because it is going to be over 40 degrees. Anything over 40 degrees without wind I always pull my gloves off within 2 miles. So I know I can start and be fine. That's just from experience. If you're somebody that's like, well, when I'm running 40 degrees, I'm still freezing, that is something you're gonna have to decide for you. I think I'm pretty normal in terms of heat, most of the time. So, yeah, we have more comments about this aging thing. No, we won't make them. Okay, so, so packet pickup, get your stuff. And one thing, I'll just throw this out there. You do not have to, especially beginners, you do not have to wear the race shirt. Matter of fact, I rarely wear the race shirt until after I've earned it. Then I let myself wear the shirt. And plus I wanna wear it, with my medal for the next week everywhere I go to the store and everything. Yeah, you won't know, you won't be able to test it, 'cause you won't get it, so. Another thing I wanted to do is invite you, the ambassadors, on Friday morning, we do a shakeout run at 9 o'clock, it's only like 3 miles. So come, a lot of us are very seasoned, and we've done this race before many times, and we're happy to help you, and it's really a nice time to just chat with people. A lot of people, and it's an easy pace, and there's a lot of people Friday morning at 9. So we just meet right before they do the ribbon cutting, and we do it, I think it's at 9, right?
Yes.
And then it's easy pace, but it's fun to kind of mingle. A lot of people from out of state that come to do the race will actually come do it. So it's kind of fun to meet people from all over doing it. But then you can just get to know a few people and you can ask around. I always do this before races too, is get an idea of what pacing everybody's going. Because then I'm like, do I have a buddy? It's nice to have a buddy. And if they're like, I'm like, go, go. And so it is nice to get an idea of what people are doing around you. It's not a competitive thing more, it's like, can I find a buddy?
Well, it's fun to run with people who've been doing it for a while.
Absolutely.
So last year was my first time doing it. I didn't realize the shakeout was supposed to be easy, so I'm like at the back trying to keep up, and there's this guy who has run the marathon, I think, for every year for 20 years. He saw me struggling at the back, so he just went back and ran with me and talked to me the whole way, and it's really cool to get to know people who've done it for a long time.
That is neat. Yeah.
So I'll be there and I'll be staff.
So you've got somebody to run with for sure, right? So it's all good, and so that's a fun time. Any other questions that you guys had? I wanted to leave a lot of time for question and answer. Yes.
Are headphones allowed at this race?
I don't know if they can officially say they're allowed. I know people sometimes use them. I personally don't race with them because it's irritating. What if I lose my earbud and the problem I have too is that you are running on some of the roads where cars will still be, they can't close the whole entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it, a lot of it will be, but it skews your perspective, even if you're wearing one earbud. It, like, when somebody's coming up on you, you can't really hear. And more importantly, the safety with cars.
Or ones like the shocks that go over your ear, show the camera.
Those are okay.
They go in front of your ear so you can still hear. I love these. I wear them at work all the time and nobody even realizes it.
So those are okay.
But yeah, you can still hear everything around you, but then you can hear music really well too. But yeah, these shocks are really cool. But the in-ear ones we would prefer you
Yeah.
not to wear, please.
Yeah, especially if they're noise canceling, that's the
Yeah.
problem we're having.
Yeah.
They need to have ambient or the shocks are fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those shocks are sweet.
Yeah.
Because I know some races just don't allow it. I mean, people
Yeah.
still do it, but.
And
Yeah.
we see why though. I mean, it's not like we can go out there and
Yeah. We'd
kick
prefer-
you off the course, you know, but at the same time, it's a safety concern. And especially when people ride bikes. You're not riding on this road, but I'm just saying other races. They don't allow, some are more strict, yeah.
I just wanna add to that, so last year I had the open run, I think the aftershocks, shocks, I guess is what they're called now. I had my playlist downloaded, but I didn't start it before getting to the marathon starting point, so if you don't start your music before, it might not start.
Yeah.
There's no
You
service.
don't have your phone.
So I did not have music for about 15 and a half miles. So, and it was my crutch the whole time. After that, like now I'm comfortable not running with music. But if you need your music, you should start it while you have service.
Good point, good point. Some people, I've never really raced with music, but I have done it on training runs and I reward myself. I don't get to listen to music until I'm 13. So it's like, cause I need it for the rest of it, so,
Yeah.
I don't know, that may be
Start
something
when
we
you're in
utilize.
service.
I know some of the other tips that we've had in some of the other clinics also was to dedicate a mile. So I want you, don't forget, maybe that's part of your plan, to dedicate, at least, I've always done the last 6 miles of the marathon to someone, or, you know, whatever you want. I'll be dedicating this. I lost a little nephew, 6 months old this year, so I'll be dedicating him to my race, so, the whole thing. I'm not doing the whole entire thing by myself, but anyway, so that's always a nice motivation to do something for someone else. So, any other questions you guys might have?
Go to the bathroom.
There are some porta potties en route. Again, check the route and see where those are available. Cause it's nice to, in your mind, go, if I need to, I've got to make it to this point. We don't want, I don't know if you remember that a while ago, the park, or the lawn pooper. Don't be a lawn pooper. I like those, I usually do, another tip, like before your race, I like the Clean Creek wipes. They have little small ones that are biodegradable. And I don't know about you, but before the race, and maybe this isn't you, but I'm in the porta potty quite a bit, more than a normal running day. And so your bum you don't wanna start with chafing, and so that's really nice, actually. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can talk to me, I'll show you what those are. So that's in my baggie. I didn't know I was gonna go there, so I didn't put them in that bag.
I almost brought bum wipers from last
Those
year
are nice
too.
to have if you have problems on the course.
Okay.
Yeah, and if, I will suggest, I do have people that go, I have this problem a lot. So a lot of times I'll have them on the treadmill when they're training, or race situation, I'm not opposed to them taking something that prevents them from having that issue, medications. So I have had that happen. But their offside of that is to make sure that is reversed after your race. So unfortunately with dehydration, that can complicate the problem. Taking the medication, you don't have a problem during the race, but then you have a problem after, not going. So make sure you're rehydrating and doing what you can to get everything moving again. Because you shouldn't be having a bunch of fiber that morning, or even the day before. So that will help prevent it if there is. But there is porta potties on course. There will be plenty at the start. But again, if you have that concern, get on the earlier bus. So you can get to the bathroom sooner and you're not in the lines that will inevitably be there. And the race will start with still people in the lines, and they will continue waiting until they can go. You don't want to start the race. So if that's a concern, then get in those lines early, I would suggest.
Don't wait.
Yeah, don't wait.
Don't wait to get in line 2 hours before.
No, get on the first bus. Get up there, you had a chance before anyone else, right? Yeah.
Maybe you can elaborate a little bit to some of about meal, pre-eating 2 or 3 days prior
Okay.
to the race happening.
So I do have, just in case you forget, I do have this on my website, pre-race or training meals or foods to eat before. And so you can search that on my website at blonderunner.com if you forget. Actually, I have a lot of resources there. If you haven't already been there, I've done this a long time. I have 1,200 blog posts. And I have the podcast that I've done for over 1.5 years. So like, there's, the information is there, and if you can't find it, just message me and I'll send something your way. But this is a very good question. So we did talk about nutrition a little bit. Things I would suggest are things you've been training with, that you have luck with. And if you're not sure yet, this is your week to test it out. You should have already tested your nutrition out on the long run in terms of race nutrition, but pre-race nutrition. If I was doing a marathon, I would have an easily digestible carbohydrate before the race. For me, suggestions, and if you guys have suggestions, you can also say, I usually will use a tiny bit of protein. I have a little more satiety with protein. Sometimes I'll use Ensure. If I'm gonna do a marathon, I'll use an Ensure. It's 350 calories, like packed good stuff. It's a good one. Other things I'll use is like a half a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or peanut butter honey. And I've often done a tortilla on the road when I'm traveling, because it's a little easier, it doesn't get smashed. Sometimes I'll have a banana. I usually have a banana within a half hour of starting the race. Or those applesauce packs with cinnamon. Cinnamon is a natural and anti-inflammatory, I don't know if you know that, but it makes me feel like I'm doing something for me anyway. Not like a lot of it, but a little bit. So that is easily digestible for me. So something like that. Some people will have the gel before. Some people like the actual food, and that's okay, you can use that too. But again, it's something that's easily digestible. I'm not having a big old salad on the bus. Have not seen that one. No, you're being healthy. I did have a beginner once chug one of those chia drinks before race. They were not in a good situation. Don't do that. I've seen it all, right? Don't do that. It does need to be something that you practice with. Granola bars are really good and very affordable. I would avoid a big old protein bar that's really heavy on the tummy. And you know, I talked about how nauseous you feel when your body is trying to digest and use your muscles. That's when you feel the nausea. So the easily digestible sugars are usually what people use. And so that's why all these products here are just full of sugar and electrolytes. That's what we need. That's what's absorbed quickly and used right away. We want to replenish the glycogen or the glucose in the muscles. And then, you know, it takes longer to use the glycogen in the liver. So, but you might be surprised at how much you already have in store. You can get through a marathon without eating at all. Without drinking on electrolytes is another issue. Definitely need to drink and have electrolytes. You know, that's the thing that most people mess up on. If you're not feeling good, you're probably you want to eat, but you probably need electrolytes, so that's kind of what makes you feel a lot better. Question?
For the electrolytes, so the race has Gatorade, right? What do you use? Like, do you
Okay.
use the
And it could
Gatorade
be-
or?
It could be Gatorade Endurance. Okay, I will tell you exactly what I do. So before this race, I will probably have applesauce with cinnamon. If I'm only doing a portion, I'm doing a relay, so I'm only doing a portion of the race and not the entire thing. So my calories are as you see. I will take 2 electrolytes. Every morning I take 2 electrolyte capsules, which are the salt stick ones that I always do. I'll always do that. I may also have a banana, probably applesauce banana earlier. I'll make sure I eat right before I go to bed. I usually do like peaches and cottage cheese. Not super high in fiber, but we've got some protein in there. I like to do that because branched chain amino acids they've been proven to improve your endurance. They need to be in your body all the time though. It's not gonna just help you one night before. If you are, have a problem with dairy, don't do that. That doesn't work for you. But boom, I've got my applesauce, and sometimes if I feel like I need a little more, the applesauce is easy for me to carry, and it doesn't get smashed or anything like a banana does. So I probably have the banana at home, and I'll take the applesauce with me and have that within half hour of the race. So yeah. So by 6:15, 6:30, I should have eaten that, and then I'm gonna go on a warm-up run, and then shed my last layers, maybe 10, 15 minutes before. So, on your warm-up run, go longer. But if you're doing a marathon or something, you're going to warm up at the beginning of your race. What I like to do is usually warm up just to get the jitters out, and I do a few intervals at pacing. Whatever pace I'm aiming for, I feel what that pace feels like right away, so my body can get into that pacing that I've been doing in training hopefully. And then, so that's what I do. Sometimes I'll run a little further, but usually, I don't know about you guys, I told you, I warned you about how capable you feel. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm out of shape. You just feel like, ugh, because your body's just used to all those hormones and you haven't had those because you've been letting these legs recover. But you'll feel spry. Get in that race and your legs will feel great. It's just, you kind of feel it right at the beginning. It's interesting, I don't know, there's probably a name for this phenomenon. I've literally done hundreds of 5,000 meter races. That was my race in college, which is a 5K. But every first mile, I'm like, dang, I don't know if I can finish this, you know? I don't know what it is, just like your hormones and everything takes a little while, and it's like starting an engine. Even if I've warmed up and stuff, I have that little moment of like, you know? And then I'm like, oh, I feel great. So don't be afraid when you get that's just part of it. And especially if you do the marathon, your emotions might go like this a little bit. But if they're like this, then there's a problem with nutrition. Because your brain only works on glucose, and if you don't keep your serum or blood glucose level where it needs to be, you'll start getting tearful and mad. It's like, then you know that's a problem. So that's why I do the math that I do, because when I can't concentrate anymore, I know my blood sugar's getting low, I need more sugar. That's what helps me. So it's kind of like my little test. Even at the beginning of the race, and I think I told you guys this for how I know this is like not something you're gonna read in a book. Sorry guys, but this is what I do. When I first start my race, I make sure my watch is started, and then I guess what pacing I'll be at the first one. And if I'm on, then I know I'm feeling right. It's kind of the same thing I do for my recovery. You know how I told you to know if you're recovered? You guess your pacing, and if you're like under, you're like, ooh, you know, I'm more recovered than I thought. If you're like wrong, and you're like, this feels like a 9-minute mile, you know, and it's like, or this feels like a 7-minute mile and going 9, that means your body is not as recovered. That may happen in the race. That may tell you you didn't recover well enough. And sometimes that happens when we first start, because we get all this antsy energy and we run anyway. We don't trust the training, we haven't experienced it enough to trust the training, we go do what we think we should do, and then we're too tired when the race comes. So even if you feel kind of crummy and weird, like taking all this time, you're not racing as much, put it into breathing, put it into putting your plan down, put it into packing your bag, put it into looking at everything. And I would say don't overthink either. Some people kind of start going double guessing what they've done. Like, it's 9 days away, guys. You're not gonna find some magic workout that's gonna make you compete better. It's mental now. Mental prep time. So switch from the physical prep to the mental prep, and then you're gonna do it. Because really, at the end of that race, I don't care who you are, but a marathon to me starts at mile 1. It gets kind of hard at 18 for some, to 20 to 22. It's like, what in the heck is happening to my body? No matter how much you train, the race begins at 22 in my opinion, for a marathon. And you're like, oh my gosh, I have 4. Oh, it just, you have to get in your mind all those positive mantras, the things, because that's when all the little devils come out and start saying stuff. You're like, something's hurting, everything's hurting, your leg's falling off, you know, like, I don't know, you start, like, your brain is like, what? So you have to have something to say back to that. I don't know, you laughing because you know it's true, right? Yeah, it's so true. So definitely have some things, you know, like I said, I have these temporary tattoos I'll put on my arm, I'll put little things, I'll put my splits, whatever. I think that's really helpful for me. It's right there. That's what I do. Any other thoughts, questions? Who's ready? Who's excited? Now I do want to share one other thing, and I know I mentioned this a little bit before when we talked about mental prep, and we had a little powwow with my junior high kids. We won district, by the way. Yeah. So we have a meet tomorrow, but I told them it's mental prep, and what you do, what you tell yourself, and that stuff matters. And practicing it, it's like a skill, learning how to mentally push yourself through the hard times. You know, I kind of shared with you how I detached myself and I coached myself at the pool that one time. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember that. Sometimes I highly encourage you to find the cheerleader in you and just like keep her in your back pocket or him in your back pocket. So when you're having those struggling miles, you can tell yourself all those things that you practiced. That hopefully you're practicing in the mental prep that you're doing now. How many of you guys are doing mental prep or know what the heck I'm talking about? Great. Tell us some of the things you guys are doing to mental prep.
Oh, mostly just going through the course over and over again.
So like in your mind, right?
And meditating. No,
Okay.
to be honest.
Have you run some of the course?
No, I've done, yes. No,
Okay.
that's the trail part has been part of my long runs.
Great. So that's easy to visualize when you've actually experienced it, so that's really good. Other suggestions, other things you guys have done to prepare mentally?
With training, one day I had kind of a not as good run day, and I was like, kind of being hard on myself, and then I was like, wait a minute. I had an elite runner tell me once that the key to being a successful runner is consistency. And I was like, I'm being consistent. And so in that moment, it just buoyed me up. I was like, I got this. I'm
Yeah.
okay. I'm being consistent. And then I just ran my own. So just that positive image, like
I'm glad you kept that like perspective. So how many of you guys had a bad running day in your training?
oh yes.
Pretty much most people in here are gonna have a day when it's like, you know what, it didn't work out the way you wanted, it wasn't what you imagined. Maybe anybody missed a training day? Everybody gets sick or something and it didn't quite happen like you wanted. So can you still do well at the race if you missed a day? Everybody in here missed a day, you're with, and I bet if we asked everyone that was participating, I bet 99% of them would say yes. I didn't get every single day in, I missed something or I had a bad training. Every one of them, and some of them are injured. So, you know, that happens, it's just part of it and that's okay. And accepting that it's part of it and that's okay because you've been consistent overall,
Yeah.
that's a really good perspective. I'm glad you said that, so, yeah.
I missed a lot of training this season.
Yeah, for things you didn't wanna, I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is, and, so there's some things that I've let go of mentally, like, honestly, I'm not worried about pacing right now. I've done the distance before, I can do it again, and it's the thing that, right now, for the rest of my training, I've just been going over my head, like, I'm having a good time, this is fun. Like, I enjoy doing this, my body knows what to do, it's done this before, I can do it again.
Yeah.
So just continuing to go over in my mind, like, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
And
I paid for this. Why did I pay for this? That's what you do at the BC start line, right? Why did I pay for this? And then you're doing it. Then you remember when you finish,
Well,
right?
and I went on my run yesterday, and I was probably only 2 miles in. I'm just like, so bored. I want to go back home, and my husband's on a work trip, so I just called him while I was running, and then I decided, okay, I can jog while I'm talking to him. I called him last year. I did a video chat at, I think, mile 16, because the family hadn't heard from me, and they're like, what are you doing calling me? I'm like, I'm going up this really hard hill, but I'm doing okay. So,
She doesn't need her arm.
well, but it's one of those things that for me it was
You like
get
the
out
mental
of
boost,
get
yeah.
and get out of like get in your head, but then get out of your head
Yes,
because your body at this point it already knows what to do. You've already done it.
yes,
Like the marathon is training.
yeah. You've done it, you've put the miles in, you've done every single, well, if some of you only done maybe 20, 22 miles. That's kind of exciting. When you get to 20 miles and you've never taken a step past that, everything is like, every step is like, yeah, I've never been this far before. And I think it really, really helps me. I know I mentioned this before because I was a 5,000 meter runner in college, and I always do everything in 5Ks. Because I know I can do that. I've done it so many times. So maybe the 5K isn't an increment you feel like I can totally do that. It may be, I can totally run to the end of that building or that tree, whatever it is, and there are moments that might come into play in your race. It could be a mile. Usually at the beginning, I will go, when I get to mile 1, I'm gonna see if I can guess that timing, and then I'm gonna kind of readjust what I think my goals might be if I need to. And so, whatever increment that you need to do to kind of have a fresh start, and if you ever see me, probably at 5K, probably at the 10K, I'll shake my arms, and it's like I'm just getting started on a new 5K. That's okay, I'm gonna start a new 5K. That's how I look at it, and it's sort of nice to have a refresh button, right? Another thing, yeah, reset your brain, and it's just like, you do kind of go, gosh, I really don't feel that bad, I'm like, I can do it, like, feel a little tired, and I'm alright, you know, you can't do it. Another thing that I told the kids, is that your anxiety for a race, this is something that I see, especially with young athletes that are not used to it, and they're like, I don't wanna be here, I just feel like I'm not, and they're like all antsy, and they're just like whining. Anyway, I tell them, what you're experiencing is the same thing as excitement. How do you feel when you have anxiety? Your heart is racing, you're kinda jittery, you're kinda like, wah, that's exactly how you feel when you're excited. So if you reframe it in your mind as, I'm excited to run this, instead of, I'm so anxious, I can't do it, I'm gonna crap my pants. Don't say that stuff. Say, I'm so excited, I'm gonna crap my pants. No, but if you reframe it, that's what makes it way more exciting. I mean, you paid for this. So you better just own that you're doing it, and you might as well make it more enjoyable, because you're gonna do it anyway. You're not gonna talk yourself out of it, you might as well talk yourself into it by going, I am super excited about this. And if you're really nervous, you're really excited. That's how I look at it. I get really nervous, so even if it's just, I get nervous to work, I got nervous to run today. Okay, time to run. I'm like, oh, I'm so nervous. I'm running with myself, sheesh. So that means I'm excited, right? So reframe it. If I see you before the race, we're excited. We're excited, right? I think it really helps to reframe it. Does anybody have any mantras that they're already figured out they're gonna say during the race? Share it, if you will.
It's mostly downhill.
It's mostly downhill. When I get to the downhill, you're almost there. You're almost there.
2 miles into the race.
One step closer.
Yes, every step, I do that a lot, actually. Once I go past halfway, whatever I'm trying to do, I'm like, now we're getting closer. Every step you are getting closer, but halfway seems to be, like in my mind, like one step closer every time. Love that. Any other thoughts? Yeah.
I have some favorite songs, like the Disney song, I Can Go the Distance from
Hercules, that's one of my favorites.
So if I get a little stuff like, I can go the distance.
Oh, cute, I like that.
Or there's this song by Sia that's Unstoppable, and I'll be like,
Oh, that's one of my favorites. Hopefully you don't get a bad song in your mind, like something you're like, oh. That's when you borrow somebody else's music. So listen to something right before. I was listening to music before, and so always get a song that you don't mind if it does repeat in your head, because if not, that can be really annoying. What was your thought?
Well, my thought is always, I am going through this beautiful canyon. There's something about just noticing things around me that just make me relax a little bit. But
Look for the waterfall.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there is the waterfall.
Hey, that's our spot, right, guys? When you see the waterfall, like,
That was my
what can you guys do at the waterfall to make you feel refreshed? It's your spot. Hey. Yeah, everybody. They're doing a muscle. No, sometimes it actually helps. I'll put my hands over my head. I'm sure people look at me and think I'm a nerd. But I will say, at the end, don't do this. I have so many pictures of me like this. I have learned, win or not, put your arms up, I did it. That's what you want the picture to look like, okay, you guys? And look for the photographers.
Honestly, it sounds dumb, but I'm just really grateful to be able to run it all. Last year, I ruptured my Achilles tendon, and I didn't know if I was going to be walking normally again. So any step I take in this is going to be a step that I'm not stuck in bed.
Ooh, good. That's
I'm really
the way to
I'm just
frame it.
grateful to be out there.
Gratitude, big time. We are so lucky, you guys. We're all sitting in this room, gonna be doing races, and there are people that wish they could walk. I mean, there really are. So if you really wanna be complaining, that's a really hard thing to complain. Think about that, right?
Especially this canyon, not a lot of people, you don't really get to run this canyon.
No, people come from all over the world to run this canyon.
Right.
We are lucky. This is literally, I've raced a lot of places. This is one of my very favorites. It's a beautiful course. That's why it's been so popular. It's been around for a long time. They do a great social race, like, and we have it right here in our backyard. It's awesome. It's just so, we are so lucky. Thank you for saying that. I think that really helped us all put it in perspective. Any other thoughts? Any other questions?
They have drinking stations around?
yes.
Well, they'll have 8 stations. Yeah, they'll have 8 stations. I guess it depends on what kind of drinking you're talking about, girl.
Just water.
You can drink anywhere you want in Africa. No, they'll have aid stations. Again, check the map, they have it all mapped out, it will tell you where the aid station is, and if you have any additional questions, they're happy to answer them, like what you're having where. I think we already know, do we know what flavors we have on course now? We probably know by now.
There's, Troy help me out here, chocolate, I put it in my phone on my
And it's goo.
recording. It's
Chocolate.
the chocolate, the berries, the birthday
Birthday cake.
cake, and that's it. Is there one more?
They'll have an assortment at each one, right?
Say again?
They'll have an assortment at each one.
Each
Yeah.
one.
And then maybe this is me being picky, but I have actually, if I know what the aid station's gonna have, I've actually yelled out flavors before. Give me the berry! Give me the berry! Or I'll yell water, water. So to continue on your question, I usually start very hydrated, but I like to lay down hydration because I have the applesauce. First aid station, I always go heavier on the water, and then I alternate. And then I have electrolyte with me. I do much better with the electrolyte intake because it's more condensed. And then I don't have to have as much fluid on my stomach. I do a little bit better with a more empty stomach, but I know that about me and I've practiced with it. Every race I've ever done really well, it's because I have a higher concentration of electrolytes.
Okay.
I always feel better. It's not condensed enough. But if you use like the Gatorade has an endurance formula, that you'll notice if you taste it, it's like, it's because it's more condensed, which is actually better for performance. That's why they use it in Ironman and things. What kind of Gatorade do you all have? Just regular?
What did we get this year, Troy, do you know?
That's good to
I don't
know.
wanna speak out of turn, I don't know for sure. We did, we haven't, I know that.
Okay. And then, I believe we're using paper cups. I told you guys about the spout,
Okay.
right? Okay? So crushing that cup and creating a spout, especially the last cup, I can take and drink the whole entire thing without getting all over you as well. So I do crush the corner, and so I can drink that cup and try to get all of it. Most of them aren't full all the way anyway, and so I try to get at least 3, but I run it, I don't walk. If you feel like, oh, I'm not gonna get enough, absolutely walk. It's better to walk through the aid stations and get the nutrition. You'll make up that time later than the people that just skip it, and then you'll catch up with them later when they don't have the nutrition. They'll totally be dying, and you will make a big difference getting that nutrition at the beginning for the end of your marathon. You get something every aid station if you're a marathoner, in my opinion. Yeah, definitely. Because you really don't get very much. 2 or 3 swallows. I actually did all the math, how many swallows did I get? And I did this cup and I measured it out. How many swallows do I need to get the nutrition I need throughout the race?
So we found the goo, so it's chocolate, salted caramel, vanilla bean, and triple berry.
Usually you're safe with vanilla, and if you're not sure, get the flavors tonight. I think you get a discount, then you can try them all out and see which one you like. And yell out, we're gonna be like, oh my gosh, don't go to the clinic, Laura's gonna make you order up. Not if you have enough breath to yell it. Maybe that's the thing. No, usually you're pretty safe with vanilla. You can try the other ones if you don't have time to try them. So, I don't think any of them have caffeine though, right? No. So if you feel like, I might need a little caffeine, I suggest the tail end of your race, not the beginning of your race. It is a diuretic, so, or, it might have up your feet more than you want to. So you want that at the end of the race, I would suggest. I usually don't take caffeine until after 8 miles I'm doing a marathon, if even that soon. Probably more like 22, because that's when I'm like, hit the wall, need a little something.
So what about a half?
I usually don't take it. Ironman, half Ironman, I will take it at the end of the week sometimes. But I don't take a lot, 'cause I still have a lot of the race left. I've still got the whole marathon, right? Except for an Ironman. So, but sometimes you need a little bit something to wake you up. This kind of refreshes you a little bit, like the shaking of the arms, whatever you guys. I still think we should all do something or something, Although you went to the clinic, if you do the something at the, let's think about it. At the, like, I don't know, at the waterfall. Something. No, but when you see that, like, be grateful, right? Let's think about when you get to the waterfall, be grateful. Yeah, that's what we need to do. And if you want to thumbs up it, that's what I do when usually people aren't offended with that.
I think at that point, I think we just have about 4 miles to go at that point.
So that is like worth a thumbs up, guys.
Like, on the, either race, the half marathon, I'm pretty sure that's 4 miles left.
Be grateful, partner. And maybe that's when you're doing your mileage for people too, like at that point. So really be grateful for that person, or even be grateful you could run, or it's nice to have the refresher points for sure. And you can create those in the race if you want, like when I get to that corner, I'm gonna run again. I'm just kidding. I don't know what you're at, but could be, depends. You do have to kind of be ready, because I have had races where I'm like not feeling as good as I need to feel. And so it might have to, you have to decide, I think, in your mind before you get to the start line that you're gonna finish, period.
Yeah.
Unless like, yeah, it's serious, you're gonna hurt yourself, then that's a different thing. But if it's a mental thing, I think you need to decide before you begin the race if you're gonna finish. It's not like you're getting a bike blow out your tire or something. It's a different, you don't have any mechanical issues, hopefully. Just your leg could go unhinged or something, then you're in a different situation. But decide before. You put the work in, and it's sometimes easy when we're hurting to talk ourselves out of it. We'll just walk, there's somebody that will sweep and pick us up at the aid stick, you know. That could happen, but it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to. Because most people, the regret is far worse than the doing poorly. And we kind of had that discussion. If I'm hurting so bad though that it's worth pulling out, you know, it's up to you. But sometimes that regret is really tough for people for a do not finish.
Well, last year, so I was hurting and right before the canyon, and I was so excited for that part. And I found that I needed to walk, and I walked about 5 miles, and after about 5 miles, the pain was gone and I was able to run again. So,
Sometimes back it off and
right,
see
like
if it-
sometimes your body needs a different impact on the
have your
ground.
husband meet you with the scooter. I'm just kidding. Woo! Down that canyon, can you imagine? I would hurt myself.
So
It's going too fast.
It's important to pay attention to what your body's doing, like, is this good pain or bad pain? Do you need to slow it down a little? It's okay to slow down a little, and then pick it back up when you can.
Yeah. So it is good to listen to your body like that, and that's definitely something to think about. Because you don't want to get hurt. I've seen people push themselves when they really are hurt, like broke their bones. They were running on a stretch factor to begin with, and then they kept pushing through and they can't run anymore now. So you can get a serious injury if you're not careful. But that's not gonna happen to these people. We're all gonna be great. Thumbs up! Yeah.
We have fun.
Yeah, we have fun. Just have fun. And it's okay if you have to, you know, maybe not run like you used to. You may have come from a background and now you can't run what you used to, and that's okay. Because we are here to have fun. You know, how can people that take classes still have fun and enjoy? They do. You don't have to limit your speed, or you don't have to run a time. You know, if you had to adapt it. The idea is to finish. And how many of you even know who won it last year? No one cares who won. There's only a handful of people that know. Most people here, yeah. Most people don't know though. They don't care. I mean, if you walk around, you could walk around and convince people you won. They wouldn't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's only one person or two, you know, that win. It doesn't matter.
I passed people last year, so I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So have fun. Whatever keeps you motivated. So, any other questions? This is like ready. This is gonna be so fun. Woo, I'm excited. Well, awesome. That's what I have for you today. I'm happy to answer all. Stick around if you have any other questions.
I think
And-
Troy did have a few announcements.
Oh, okay. Great.
First, thanks for coming. Thanks for leaning into Coach Laura's training program. We're going to be prepped for the marathon. We're excited to have you. I'm Troy, by the way, with the Goal Foundation, Executive Director. This is Programming and Volunteer Coordinator. So a lot of efforts gone on the backside to make this event amazing and successful. So we're excited that you're leading into this component in particular. Want to make sure you know about our Kids K at 12:30. We have a Kids K that's probably funner than your race, actually. It's gonna be cool. So if you have friends and family who want to come down and participate in Kids K, we have 500 spots open for that. It is already open for registration, so encourage them to get online and engage in that. It starts right there on 25th of Kiesel, goes around a block. They get to come through the same finish arch that you guys do. So it's a really neat experience for the kids to be able to be there and kind of have that same festival experience coming through the finish. So keep that in mind. They get a cape, a belt, and a cute teddy bear in a bag, and again, it's free, so that's awesome. Granite Construction sponsors that.
So it's for 12 and under, right? Are you guys gonna send it
There's a
to like
flyer there with the
1300?
QR code on it.
What
You
is,
just
do
scan
you
it
have
up
off
to
the top of your head
registration.
the age restriction for the kids K?
What was that? Sorry, 12 and under.
Age restriction's 12 and under, right?
If there's special needs, we'll let them in over 12, but besides that, 12 and under.
Because it's only 500, we want to make sure they're that, but if there's, you know, we can make exceptions for things like that, so. So yeah, the kids' K is gonna be a riot, tons of fun. If you finish prior to that, which, a lot of it I know you will, I'd sure come cheer those kids on, because again, it's a really neat experience for them to be able to come through the finish and have that grand arch and everything coming through. We have the Ogden Police Department starting them off with the Harley Davidsons, and it's a big to do, a really cool thing. So keep that in mind. In addition, your bibs that you get are gonna have some little tear-offs on the bottom. You can leave them on the bib while you run if you'd like, and you'll get to redeem for Great Harvest, Preemies, and a jam bar coming through the finish line. And then this is a shameless plug for Gold Foundation, Trails Foundation as well. There's a coupon for a discount on the NUT, the Northern Utah Trail Fest, which is in October 4th, 5th, and 6th. So once you finish, I encourage you to come through, register for the NUT, go over to Fleet Feet's booth, buy yourself some trail shoes, and start preparing for the NUT. It's a 3, 6, or 9 hour trail run. We have a similar festival style with music, games, fun, all kinds of great things happening up in North Warden Park. It happens in Cutler Flats. There'll be
Camping, you forgot the
You
camping.
get to camp Friday and Saturday night. The park actually closes the week before, and we are able to reserve that in partnership with Weaver County Parks. And so it's a ride, it's a great time, and whether you run road and trail or not, I just encourage you to come and experience that festival, and again, grab some trail shoes from Jamie at Fleet Feet here, and come up and do a 3, 6, or 9 hour trail run, and we are offering a duo category, so you can split that up with another partner.
Do you have any dates for that?
Yeah, October 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Oh,
The
okay.
race itself is on the 5th. You don't have to camp to do the race. You can come up for just the race on the 5th. But if you'd like to come up and experience the weekend, you can reserve campsites through our website at for the 4th and 5th.
Oh, cool.
So
Thank
that is,
you.
yeah,
Really well done.
Oh, good.
yeah, it's really great. Again, that's in partnership with the Trails Foundation of Northern Utah, Gold Foundation, and Weaver County Parks and Rec as well. So it's a great time for us. Talked about the Kids K. At the end, as you're going down the course, you're gonna have all these really amazing water stations and hoopla stations in that last bit of the course. These are all volunteers from the community and some of our corporate partners and things that put those on. At the end of the race or post-race, depending on which email chain it comes out on, there's an opportunity to vote for your favorite hoopla station and water station. I'd encourage you to make sure you keep in mind who got you through the next mile, who got you through to the finish, who got you most excited or whatever it is, and cast your vote for them at the end. We really find that value in those volunteer partnerships for those hoopla stations and water stations is integral to the success of the event, and they really put a lot of effort into being a winner. So your vote matters, if that makes sense.
They'll be
One
there
other
again.
thing that will be coming out is for 2025, we have an artist call out that we're going to announce at the festival. There's just going to be some minor details up first. But if you know any local artists, all of our artwork that's presented on Brooke's shirt.
I am wearing the artwork shirt today, I
is
forgot.
Locally
And our new
sourced. Our
hat.
goal is to engage that art community in our artwork, which makes its way into the metal, into the shirts and everything else. And make sure we're going to do an artist call out. We'll have information at the marathon at the Symbol Arts booth, who's our new medal and awards sponsor. So visit the Symbol Arts booth. If you know a local artist or you are an artist and you want to participate in that artist call out, we'll be petitioning for some artwork in the next couple months, basically after the marathon, so we can select that artist and artwork for the 25 marathon. Because for us, it all starts on the 20th to plan for next year's event. So,
We take a week off generally. We get about a week off.
And then we get to it, but, so anything else on this, Brooke?
No.
We love volunteers.
We do love volunteers, yeah, and we are looking for a handful more for busing
Yeah.
in the morning. If you look at our social media page, that's one last thing. Our social media page, we have a few people. We need about, I don't know, it's a lot of people for the morning busing. Well, we're gonna fill them, I'm sure, but if you know someone again who may be coming to the festival.
Or if you want to come help bus before you get on your bus, if you want to help load 6,000 other runners before you hop on your bus, I could use some more volunteers at 4 a.m. Helping load 6,000 runners on 96 buses. Yeah, it'd be awesome. But if not, I totally get it. You have a race.
We'll fill the spots, I'm
Yeah,
sure, but
they'll get
it's
full.
kind of an exciting, unique experience to help load the buses.
It's pretty magical to
Cheer
see it all
folks on
happen.
hopping on the bus when you get So, and then, yeah, and, you know, we wanna just encourage the typical, shameless plug of, you know, hashtag and, you know, like and share the post from the marathon itself, your success, your friends' successes, and really that's it, get in that mental state. We'll see you the morning of the 18th.